The Paragon of Man, Smoke Pit Fairy Tales Part 3, Chapter 12, Ithican Bow Hunter. I woke up to the sounds of birds singing as the sun's first golden rays of light peeked over the mountains. I sat up and looked to the sky. Not all the stars had disappeared yet. I had a bad dream that night, but I couldn't remember what it was. I sat there on the bench with a troubled mind. I still haven't formulated a good plan to take back what was mine, and I questioned what I was doing at all and what the purpose of life was. I knew that there was no choice for me but to move forward. Even if I did die, I would just wake up at an unpredictable point in the future. I was worried that if things went south, Penelope would get hurt too, or she'd see my lifeless body and have her heart broken even more and move on to somewhere where I wouldn't be able to find her. And I honestly couldn't think of where she'd go. I sat there for some time until a clap of thunder made me jump. It sounded like it was right above me, but I couldn't see even one cloud in the sky. I folded my blankets and headed inside the house. Thom and Christy were setting up for the morning while Jenny and Penelope heated up the kitchen. I sat at the bar for a few minutes until Thom brought me a couple of eggs and a piece of toast. I forked the eggs on the bread and ate it like a sandwich. Not 2 bites into breakfast, Robert walked into the bar.
You're still hanging around?
I ignored him and kept eating. He sat down across the bar. Shortly after, the regular group of new, confident rapscallions filled in one by one. The bulk of them sat at the table right behind me. When they had food in front of them, their talking turned to whispers.
I think Tom's the real reason Penelope won't move on or sell the bar,
Paul said to the others. Frince agreed.
Yeah. There's no way she'd still be waiting on Hank for all this. Humans are like dogs. They're fun to be around, but they don't live long. There's no real reason to get attached.
Frince looked around the table, circling his finger.
No offense to you guys.
None taken.
Don't worry about it.
So if we want in on this, we have to take out Thom.
Faye declared.
Yeah, but it's got to look like an accident.
Or he could just disappear.
Holy shit. Frince got some balls while I was gone, I thought, still unimpressed with him. While they were scheming, the guitarist sat up shop by the fireplace and started playing. Is that guy always here? I asked Thom when he returned.
A few days a week.
And he's not a bad musician.
No, and he's not really a bad dude. He only really hangs around those jerks because they'll buy him drinks if he plays good enough for them.
Patrons!
Penelope called from the balcony. I didn't see her there. I had to lean back from the bar to see up. The room grew quiet.
Most of you have expressed a desire for my hand in marriage, and tried to hide that it's not for anything more than to reap the benefits of being a comfortable shop owner in this dark time of history. I came here as a refugee from a destroyed planet, just like the rest of the Verescents, half of you here now. I set up a new life for myself and was more than content with where I was. I found a good man who took care of me. He built me this house, and then left for war and never returned. Now I sit here, almost depleted, while you mules try to steal away what is ours. So I've decided to hold a contest. Whoever emerges the victor will receive everything I own, except for a few personal items of mine and Hank's car, which I will use to drive away as far from here as I can. So everyone, finish your breakfast and get out. You can return this afternoon for the contest.
Penelope! What's the contest?
You'll see this afternoon, Frince.
People left the table as they finished eating. It took half an hour for everyone to clear out. During that time, I spoke to Thom. Thom, what's going on?
We're planning something. I talked her into this last night and I told her to sleep on it. I don't want the wrong person to hear anything.
Thom slid me his house key.
Check the top drawer on my dresser. There's a few things in there for you.
I put the key in my chest pocket. Thanks for breakfast.
I'll see you around 3.
I walked down to Thom's, past the pigs and the goats, and found his bedroom. And then I opened the top drawer of his dresser. Oh, hello, beautiful. A smile stretched across my face. 3 20-round magazines from my granddad's M14 sat beside several boxes of 7.62. I licked the inside of my lip and giggled. I picked them up to find a can of tobacco underneath. I grabbed that too and took it to the living room. I hadn't had a smoke in forever, so I dumped my Alice pack too and heard a thud. I looked down thinking it was my tomahawk, but found my 1911. Oh, I thought I lost this. I dug through the mess on the floor. Camis, tomahawk, lighter, Amelia's pipe, shears. I found some water and washed my blouse. While it was drying in the sun out back where I thought no one could see it, I packed some tobacco in the pipe and smoked as I loaded the magazines. I had a good buzz going. I hadn't smoked since Panama. I fell asleep before the bowl was finished. I woke up from the nap with more than an hour to spare. I dug around Thom's stuff until I found an old tattered coat. It wasn't dirty, but it showed its age. I rubbed it in the dirt to make it look like a homeless person had been wearing it. Then I went to the bathroom and trimmed my beard down to stubble, leaving the mustache bushy enough. I grabbed my blouse from outside. It was plenty dry. It was a bit beat up, but serviceable. The green had started to fade, but there was no denying what it was. I rolled the sleeves up and put it on, then threw Thom's old coat over it to hide it. I put the olive drab American flag bandana over my forehead and pulled my hair over my face. This should still be an adequate disguise. I stuck the 1911, tomahawk, and magazines inside my belt. The layers of clothes hid the bulks. I grabbed a thick slice of pork from the kitchen and ate it on the way back up the hill. I made my way back up to the house. The group was already there, and they brought a few more friends. I counted 46. The tables had all been moved out of the main room. In their stead stood 12 evenly cut logs with one full beer bottle on top of each. I stood in the back as to not be noticed. Right at 3, Penelope came downstairs. She was wearing a rust-colored, calf-length dress over black jackboots. Over her shoulder, she carried my beaten olive drab canvas rifle case. She sat down at a square coffee table at the beginning of the line of beers with a case on her lap. The room was quiet.
As I said before, there shall be a contest. Whoever can put a bullet through all 12 of these beers can have everything I own.
Her eyes were already red and moist. She unzipped the canvas sack and laid my M14 on the table, piece by piece. Both the rifle and the magazine were disassembled. After she set the parts and a few tools down evenly across the wood, she placed down one 7.62 round. By the time she was finished, she was weeping bitterly. She sniffed and told the room,
Thom will watch and tell me who wins. I personally don't care who does it. I'm going for a walk.
She stood up and left the house. The room stayed silent. No one dared approach the table for a few minutes.
You guys are driving me insane. If none of you will man up, I will.
Thom held an attitude that wasn't normal for him. I smirked because I knew he was putting up a front. He sat down and looked at the parts. He fiddled with the barrel, the gas cylinder, and lock for a minute, then tried to attach the barrel to the bolt. He feigned frustration and put the parts back where they were on the table.
I guess I'm not good for anything besides raising hogs and serving drinks. You all take your shots at it. Maybe one of you are better.
Thom went and stood behind the bar. Frince approached the table. His face gave a false sense of victory, but his eyes told me he was lost.
Why is it that we have to put together a killing machine? Hasn't there already been enough death around us? It's not like we're from the South. I'm not even from this planet. But I've come to live in California, and this is my home now. We've never had vile weapons of war like this here. I knew Hank. I know why he would have something like this. He wasn't exactly the world's biggest pacifist. But Penelope loved him anyway. And since I'm a man after Penelope's heart, I feel I have to prove my worth to her. I'll finish assembling this despicable symbol of oppression and death, and then everyone can go home.
I'd always hated Frince. There were a few times I could think of where I was anything less than annoyed by his presence, but at that moment, I was trying not to cry from laughter. It took a lot to hold back and not at least giggle. Frince tried to put the operating rod inside the barrel, and then he tried to put the flash suppressor on the bolt. Frince scoffed and tossed the parts back on the table.
I can't put it back together. But that's ultimately a good thing. This thing was only ever meant to kill people. If I don't know how a killing machine works, I'm ultimately a better person.
Faggot! Robert stepped up next.
Quit acting like a bitch, Frince. It has nothing to do with killing people. It's just a puzzle. It's not any harder than a jigsaw or a Rubik's Cube.
I actually can't put together a Rubik's Cube. Robert tried to put the parts from the trigger assembly into the receiver group for a few minutes before he gave up. Faye pushed him away from the table and tried to take a shot to no avail. The rest of them took their tries at it. The closest anyone got was incorrectly putting on the butt plate. Frince and Faye instigated the others as they tried.
I've seen Hank do this before, and he's not a smart guy. How the fuck could he do this if we can't? Was he smarter than me?
No, he was an idiot.
Frince spoke to the group.
Put this damn thing away. Who needs that shit? Let's just go get drunk. We'll figure something else out later.
The room murmured in agreement. Hey, I didn't get to go yet. I barked at the room. They all stared me down with an indignant disgust. Faye pointed her finger at me.
Oh, shut up and mind your own goddamn business, you fucking bum. Isn't eating here for free enough for you?
Yeah, you'd probably break the damn thing, you homeless drunken fuck.
Penelope gave an open invitation to this.
Thom reminded the bar. I think you're afraid I can do it. The group grumbled and barked at both Thom and myself. I walked up to the table and sat down. I inspected each part before I started, making sure they didn't damage anything. While I scrutinized the pieces, I shot my eyes up for a second at a time to check the room. Thom and Jenny closed and locked the doors. I assembled the barrel receiver group, the stock group, and the firing mechanism assembly.
You think you might know a thing or two about that?
I slid the operating rod into place.
You don't think he'll get it together, do you?
I placed the trigger housing group home.
It doesn't matter. He only has one bullet. If he gets it, we can beat him down and then decide amongst ourselves who we say won.
I put it on safe, racked the bolt, and pulled the trigger. There wasn't a click. I put it on fire, pulled back, and heard it. Frince grabbed a drink.
We'll have to kill Thom too. But that's incidental.
I put the magazine together, loaded the round, slapped it in, and racked back the bolt. I sighted in on the beer bottles. I hope Thom's pigs are hungry. They're about to have one hell of a fucking dinner. I squeezed back the trigger. I felt the kick before I heard the round explode out of the chamber, go through all 12 beer bottles and fly out the window. The glass and beer fell to the hardwood floors. The room was stunned, silent in astonishment. I could hear the beer fizzle on the deck.
Who are you? Like, really?
I jumped up on the table and punted out the empty magazine. The bolt stayed locked to the rear. You fucking cocksuckers thought I'd never come back home from Russia. I ripped off Thom's coat to show him my blouse and brushed my hair back with my fingers to show him my face. You come into my house and disrespect my wife? I inserted one of the 30-round magazines and slapped the bolt home. Everyone, including the darkest of virescents, turned white. Frince's body shook. With a weak voice and a heavy stutter, he squeaked.
Hey, man. We thought you were dead. We're sorry. You don't need to do anything crazy. I always thought you were a great guy. I would never mistreat Penelope.
I shot him through the trachea. Blood poured out of the wound and seeped through his nose. His drink fell from his hands. He followed it to the ground, grabbing at his neck. Faggoty-ass Prince. Faye lunged at me with her pocket knife. Before she could swing, I stuck the muzzle in her chest and blew off her right tit. She pummeled to the ground and beat the floor in agony, swimming in a pool of her and Frince's blood. Everyone else screamed and charged me. I switched the rifle to full auto and let loose on the group. When enough of them had laid dead or screaming on the floor, the rest bolted to the door. I put the M14 back on semi-auto and started putting bullets in their backs until I needed to change magazines. The door opened and they poured out into the hall. I chased after them. I saw that it was Christy who had opened one of the doors for him. I put a bullet in her eye as I passed without slowing down. I fired after the ones running. I got all but 3 who were bleeding and crying in the front lawn. I walked up to Paul and shot him in the heart, then in the head. I slung the rifle and pulled out my 1911. Something grabbed the back of my leg. I swirled to find Robert pleading with me.
I wasn't really part of those guys. I had nothing to do with what they were doing.
You call yourself a fucking man? I shot him in the dick. Before his first howl was over, I turned his head into a canoe. I walked back to the house. A few of them were still breathing. I put my hatchet into the back of their necks to fix that problem. While I was searching, I found the guitar player balled up in a corner weeping.
I just play guitar, man. You ain't gotta kill me. Ask Thom. Ask Thom.
I turned to see Thom leaning on the bar with his arms crossed.
That guy's all right, Hank.
I looked into the window of that kid's soul. Never let me see you again. He shook his head and sprinted out into the woods. Faye was the only one left groaning and bleeding on the ground. I grabbed her hair and drug her to the garage. My Jeep and GTO were still right where I left them. I found the keys and started the Jeep. I opened the garage door and used the winch cable to tie Faye to the grill. I grabbed Thom and Jenny and they helped me load the Jeep up with as many bodies as it could hold. It took a few trips, but we moved everyone down to Thom's yard. I left the Jeep at the fence facing the pigs. I threw Frince's body in first and waited for the hogs to start eating him. Faye's wounds weren't mortal. She hadn't really lost all that much blood. I tied her arms to the ends of the bumper so she could see everything that was happening. As the sounds of the hogs chewing on Frince's body grew louder, Faye said to me,
"Let me go. I never meant any harm."
I grabbed her hair and stuck my nose in her face. You've known Penelope for more than a fucking century. Not only did you sit around while she was tormented, but you fucking partook.
Fuck you, Hank. You have no idea what it's like.
Faye spit in my face. Instead of flinching, I punched her in the mouth a few times until I could pull out all of her teeth. I grabbed her tongue and cut half of it off. The blood shot out all over her mouth as she tried to scream. Then I grabbed her forehead and very carefully cut off her eyelids, then strapped her head back to the Jeep so she had nowhere to look except for the hogs eating her friends. If you're fucking lucky, I'll come back tomorrow and put a goddamn bullet in you. Somehow find a way to fucking piss me off before now and then, and I'll shoot you in the goddamn kneecaps and feed you to the fucking pigs alive. I moved the rest of the bodies into the pen, making sure that they faced Faye. Then Thom, Jenny, and I walked back up to the house.
Hank?
Yeah, man?
Remind me never to fuck with you.
Thom? Yeah, he makes too good of a rum and coke for that.
Hey, what's up? How you guys doing? Were you waiting on that chapter? I know I was waiting on that one to do it. Yeah, that's what we wanted to do. Thanks for watching this. Thanks for, liking and commenting and all that. Speaking of commenting, we're going to go over last video's comments here in a minute. I figured that's probably the best way to do it, right? Like, instead of just like combing through everything all the way back, just like when I do these, whatever the last video, whatever the comments were on the last video, we'll talk about those. And we'll get moving with that. But before that, I'd like to thank this episode's cast. We had Diane Spencer as Penelope. God, she fucking kicked ass in this. We got Chuck LaVoki as Frince, also delivering a good fucking death gargle. Ryan, History Daddy Day, playing Thom. I always enjoy his work. Go check out his channel. Bino Black playing Paul. Ave DeVera playing Faye. Tim Sears doing Robert. Austin Garrett playing the Guitar Kid. Oh, is that it? Yeah, I think that was everybody that was in this episode. Yeah, Rampage. I should do that, huh? And Rampage indeed, says Austin Garrett, who played the kid in this one, who subscribed over on Patreon. And thank you very much, Patreon subscribers. You guys get to get these chat-episodes as soon as I'm done with them. I've been kind of in a bind. I don't want to say in a bind. I've had a lot of stuff going on the last month or two. So sorry that they haven't getting pumped out quite as quick over there. But I should be uploading chapter 9, I think, of book 4 on Patreon later today, maybe tomorrow morning. We're about a quarter of the way through that book over there. And that book's also a lot longer than this. So yeah, 39 chapters. It's a long boy. But anyway, we're still over here on this one. And again, thank you to the Patreon people. Thank you to everyone who's gotten the war chest, the box set of these books. If you get one, I put a pin on the map for you over there. And we'll talk about that here a little bit more in a minute or two. And thank all of you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you having here, friggin', it's kind of like a real-time appreciation for my work, and I'm glad that I could bring smiles to your faces, a little entertainment to your ear holes, eye holes. I don't really fucking illustrate these. Actually, I do make a lot of art for these. I just don't put them in the videos because I don't know why. Whatever. Anyway, so yeah, let's look at some comments. And this one is also from Patreon, Caleb Sexton. A dish best served cold. Yes, actually, this whole book is based off of an ancient Klingon proverb. Revenge is a dish best served cold. Unlike this coffee. Coffee is best served hot. Scalding hot. I haven't eaten anything today. I kind of want Taco Bell. I don't have an excuse to go down. Do I have a reason to go down? Man, Taco Bell's like 20 minutes away. I don't have a reason to go downtown. Anyway, Warsmith 3238. Great chapter-sode. There's a goddess in the house. I just want Hank to go all Predator on the guest. Well, that was this chapter. Are you fucking happy, Warsmith? Is it Warsmith? Warsmith? Yeah, there you go. I like this one. It was a good time. If the title didn't give it away to you, that's what this is about. Friggin', that's another thing I wanted to talk about while we're here. Friggin', in the original draft of this, not in this book, in the original draft of the first book, Penelope's name was Gina, kind of like how Hank's middle name was Tommy, because the first book was a big Bon Jovi pun. But once I started, doing a little bit more of the skeleton work for the entire series, and I was like, oh, hey, the third book's going to be the Odyssey. Well, I kind of had to change Penelope's name to, Gina's name to Penelope. And her name was, if you remember in the first book, what was it? Penelope Gina Van Ithica? Now, it's okay if you don't understand that, Gina means regal or queenly. But, Van Ithica, Penelope, Queen, from or of Ithaca. Come on, man, this is gonna happen the whole time. Thanks for tuning in, though. And I'm glad some of you can appreciate my foreshadowing. What else we got? Jarhead Chew 06, that's Austin Garrett again. Look at damn titties! Yeah. As soon as those comments were said, fucking Hank was like, all right, all you gonna die. Thom the Builder, I don't know if you changed anything, but if so, volume level was perfect. Okay, so here's the thing on that. I try to make sure that the volume levels are the same for coming out on these. Over here on YouTube at the very least. On YouTube, though, the file that I export is not the same one that I put on Audible, because on Audible, it has to be a little bit quieter, or a little bit like leveled out, right? There's not as much peaks and valleys. Because, Audible doesn't want you listening to like an audiobook and then getting like surprised, at a loud noise, in the middle of, the narrative or the story or whatever. However, I don't apply that scrunching to YouTube because, loud noises are part of the fucking surprise in the story. So, I think if there's another video that I put up on here where the chapter sode's kind of flat, it's probably because I accidentally uploaded the Audible audiobook version of it instead of the YouTube version of it, which, by the way, for the most part, they're exactly the same. It's just that Audible has to get compressed a little bit more. If you know much about, say, sound designing, we're really just talking like the difference between like waves and MP3s, which, to most people that doesn't fucking mean anything, but it starts to when you need it to not. But yeah, whatever. Hey, thanks Thom, for checking in. John Bavis. John Bavis. All right, I lack the patience to wait each week to find out what happened. I'm buying the war chest. Thank you for buying the war chest. I actually have your box here, and one of the books, I'm not going to mail it until it all comes in. See, I got this thing where, like, depending on when or where the war chest, the box itself can come from a couple different fucking places, usually whoever's selling it cheapest that day when the order comes in. I also build these to order because they cost a lot to fucking put together in the first place. But what was I saying? Oh, yeah, no, I actually got your box, the box part of it in. I'm still waiting on the stickers and cards because I think it's been about a month or two since I've actually sold a war chest before this one, and and it was a little while before that since before someone else bought one. So the one before you, I just kind of gave them all the stickers and the cards I had left because it was like, hey man, no one's bought anything for a while, thanks. But anyway, your stuff's on the way in. Also, the book's part of that, duh. If you go to like Amazon or something and buy my paperbacks, they will show up at your house like the next day or the day after that. But for some reason, since I'm the author, if I do that, it takes fucking 2 weeks. So that's a thing. Anyway, it will be in the mail, I think, next week or the week after. When's the 20th? What's today? I'm recording this Tuesday, June 18th. I think they should be here the 25th. Early next week. They should be on the way to you early next week. But hey, thanks for grabbing the war chest, man. I'll put a pin in the map for you when I put it together and put it out. Hopefully that'll be in next week's fucking video for you. Also, I like your profile picture. Stay lucky. Lucky strike means fine tobacco. Black Adam 01, kazoo. Yay, I'm excited too. God of War 221, by far one of my favorite book trilogies right now. Finished Paragon of Man recently, and suffice it to say, it ended very surprisingly. Not to spoil anything, I wish I could meet you in person to discuss some of the key elements that I really enjoyed. Can't wait to experience the next Smoke Pit Fairy Tales. Keep up the good work, Marine. Great work, Marine. Thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying my work, even though I'm just plagiarizing Homer and whoever wrote the Epic of Gilgamesh and my early years in the Marine Corps and Mobile Suit Gundam. But speaking of down, that was a sentence that came out of my mouth. But speaking of wish that you can meet me to discuss some of the key elements that you really enjoyed. So there is going to be a Comic-Con or a Sci-Fi Con. There's going to be one of those fucking convention things in November in Altoona, Pennsylvania. I am right now looking to set up a booth for that. I just gotta, get some stuff together to make sure I have enough to justify going in the first place. So I gotta make some prints and then figure out how many books I need to take and, I don't know, patches, stickers, something exclusive I'll have to make too that you won't be able to buy online. Like you have to come in there to get it. I don't know, that might be a patch. I think that could be a patch. I don't know. But anyway, that would be an opportunity to, come sit down or whatever and talk to me and say what's up. And since I'm not a celebrity and I won't have like the come give me $80 and I'll sign your fucking t-shirt bullshit thing, I'll just have a table. Yeah, you could just fucking plop by and hang out all day for all the fuck I care. Like, I don't know, just can you bring beer into those? I don't think you can bring beer into those. I'll let you know when it's sooner, but that'd be an opportunity to do that if I get off my ass and get that done. I gotta get the cash together to do that, though, too. You know, that's one of those you gotta have money to make money things. If I could get more, like, war chest or, like, arts or just, like, books in general sold, I don't think that would be as much of a problem, but, you know, I'm not good at marketing. This whole, like, writing thing would be a lot easier if I was good at marketing, but I'm not. And that's not your guys' fault. That's my fault. Yeah. But yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying my work. Thank you very much. I'll keep you updated about the November Comic-Con thing, because if that does go well, what I'd like to do is get it to where I'm doing at least one of those a month. Either that Comic-Cons, sci-fi cons, gun shows even, and making it like a regional thing, and then hopefully at some point make it a West or East Coast thing. And it'd be really cool if I can get it to where that's like I don't want to say I'm constantly on tour thing, but like, you know, maybe make that like a circuit job thing, or like maybe that's what I do during the summer and the fall or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll see where the future takes us. All right, back to the comments. Anyway, God of War. Glad you're digging them. Once on Wednesday, fuck, that was fantastic. That came together better than I imagined it would. We need more death noises. Where's Cup and his death? Cup, Cavicious. Fucking Matt, he's the guy who played Correa earlier in this book. And this comment's by, he played a couple of guys. Steve Augustin, what the fuck is your name? He played the mech guy, and he played Pomero, I believe. Fuck, I have a Word document that's got the credits in it. I could just fucking check that out. But you know who you are. Anyway, they're supposed to have a death off at some point where they're both just like playing characters that are getting dead and making noises for the duration of the chapter, but that'll be at least book 5 before that happens. Both those guys are great voice actors, though, by the way. Fucking their links are somewhere in one of these fucking videos. TQS need I don't know what the fuck that means. Stoked. I'm glad you're happy. The Bambi 5817 intense, and now I have to wait. Well, not really. I mean, if you want to wait for me to read these to you here over on YouTube, yeah, but I mean, there's plenty of these chapters, almost half a book ahead over on Patreon, or you could just go buy the books and read them, or if you want to get frisky and really support the channel, you can get the war chest. I think that's the best way to like really, you know, I don't want to say that's the best way to support the channel. The best way to support the channel is just to fucking watch and like and comment and tell your friends and get them to join the cult. I mean, make them fans of the Smoke Pit universe. But anyway, yeah, I'd like to thank everyone who is listening. Thank you very much for tuning in and sticking around for this ranting bullshit. I would like to thank everyone who's actually physically bought the books and read them ahead. Thank you very much to you people specifically for not spoiling anything in the comments. You guys are fucking MVPs for that. Did I thank Patreon? Did I thank people who bought the war chest? Like, also, for some reason, I wanted to clear something up. I think there are some people who think that you have to buy the war chest to get the books. You can just go buy these off Amazon. Like, you don't have to like buy them from me. That's just how you get them signed or whatever. But all right, okay. That's it for now. I will talk to y'all later. See you next week. Enjoy the bloopers, and y'all have a good one.
Test my testicles.
Okay, this is Paul, chapter 12.
Okay, full disclosure here. I have read chapter 12, and I'm guessing that for the first bit, she's distraught, because then later on you write still distraught. So I'm going to play the first speech. I'm going to do it a couple of ways. One is going to be distraught. The other is going to be like a bit more Thunderdome, I guess. Yeah, I'll try and leave little gaps if you want to mega mix things. Yeah.
After she set the parts in fuel tools.
It's so fucking hard to like stutter like on purpose.
Frince approached.
Same thing, take 2, slightly less sobby, I think.
French. Yeah, well, I mean, I guess that's right.
Let's try that again.
The room was stunned, silent. They were silent.
Some fucking gargling sounds in there.
Blood poured out of the wound and sped through his nose. Nope, seeped. It's not sped.
Nice. All right.
It's just fucking Choking on cock.
Oh, that was easy.
Yeah, it's probably enough of that.
Hurt. Blah.
Right, hopefully we've got it.